What I want to do today is provide a demonstration of simple all-grain brewing. I want to encourage extract brewers to consider making the move to all-grain. It's a lot of fun. It's not too difficult. It doesn't have to be very expensive. And the results, I think, are quite a bit better than extract beer. You can see some of the beers I have on tap right here. I've got a coffee stout, a holiday cheer, which is a spiced amber ale, wit beer still, kind of late in the season for that, and then a ale I made with all homegrown hops. So I think they're great. The results turn out wonderful, and you can make all kinds of different styles, even more styles than you can make with extract. So I say give it a try. You'll like it. I like to heat up my mash water and my sparge water on my kitchen stove. You can do it in your boil kettle, but this just means that I have to go refill my propane tank a little bit less often. Just want to do a quick shot of my mash tun. This cost about $25 to make, and it's very simple. There's a stainless steel toilet supply line here, and then on the outside a tube goes through, and it fits in there so tight that it's a perfect seal. Very cheap plastic clamp. And that's about it. I have instructions on building something like this on my website. The first step to all grain brewing is pretty simple. You just heat up your strike water and add it into the mash tun. I like to close the lid and leave it in there for a few minutes just to kind of heat up the whole cooler. Once your strike water is at the right temperature, then it starts to get fun. Now you're going to add your crushed grain. I just add it all in at once, and then I'll stir it next. You want to just break up any pockets of grain that are sticking together. You want to have the water be able to get to every piece of grain and just get it nicely and evenly all stirred up. And then you're going to want to take a temperature and make sure you hit your mash temperature. And that's going to be about it for this part. Once the mash is at the proper temperature and I have it stirred up well, I cover the mash tun with blankets to help keep in as much heat as possible, and then it's going to sit for usually an hour. The mash has been going for an hour, and I've only lost about 1 degree of temperature, so this simple mash tun works great. What I'm doing now is the mash out. I'm adding a couple gallons of boiling water, and I want to raise the temperature a little bit to make the wort a little bit easier to run off into my brew kettle. The first thing that we do is the vorlauf, and that's just collecting some of the wort into a pitcher like this, and that allows the grain bed to settle. And so by the end of this 2 quarts, the wort will be much more clear, which it already is, coming out pretty clear now. And then what I do is I just fill up this 2-quart pitcher, I allow the grain bed to settle, and then I just start collecting it into my kettle, like that. Here's a quick shot of the wort draining out of the mash tun. Has a nice filter set up by the grains at the bottom, going through the stainless steel tube, coming out through here, and collecting in the kettle. I've collected my first runnings, and now let's see how many gallons I have. I've made this stick ahead of time with notches, so I have 1, 2, 3, I have about 3.5 gallons. And I want to get up to about 6 at least, or 6.5, so I'm going to probably add 3 gallons of sparge water. Now I'm going to add about 3 gallons of sparge water, that is about 185 degrees. And I'll stir it up and take a temperature, make sure the temperature looks okay, and then I'll collect the wort again. I collected the rest of the wort, and I have a full kettle, and now I'm just bringing it to a boil. Making a steam beer, and you can see the color is, even at this early stage, it looks to be about right. So now we just have to get it boiling. I've added the hops. It's going to boil for an hour. I'll add some more hops a little bit later, and after the hour, then I'll start cooling down the wort. I've boiled the wort for an hour and now I'm cooling it down. I have my kettle sitting in a little bit of an ice water bath, but I also have the wort chiller here, and I'm collecting the hot water that comes out of there into the washing machine and probably do a load of laundry later. The wort is cooled down. Now it's time to get it into the carboy. I used to pick up the whole 5-gallon boil kettle with all the wort and dump it into the carboy like this, but then I got smart and just I sanitize a pitcher like this, make sure it's nice and clean and sanitized, and then I just scoop it out until it gets light enough that I can just pick it up and dump the rest in. The wort is cooled down and it's time to add my yeast starter. I've already swirled it up so all the yeast is in suspension. I'm just going to dump the whole thing in. That's how I do it. I took a gravity reading. I didn't quite get to the gravity I hoped for, but that's okay. There's a couple factors I think that maybe are cause of that, but it's very close and it'll still be a great batch of beer. Here's a batch of all grain steam beer that's going to be great in about 1 month. For more details on brewing this way, as well as all kinds of recipes and pictures of the recipes and how they turn out, go to donosborn.com, donosborn.com, and happy brewing.